What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to another True Raider podcast, TACO-BOUT Raiders Tuesday. Um, I'm having an issue right now. I got all these pop-ups coming up on my screen. I don't know why it's doing that. Having trouble streaming on Twitter. That's all right. That's all right. Um, Welcome, Nation. Welcome. So there's a whole lot going on. I'm starting a little bit late. I had a coffee mishap, man. I was trying to get some coffee going. I'm trying to get motivated and just had a coffee mishap. That's all good, man. That's all good. We got a lot of things to talk about right now, and let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. We got some updates on the QB competition. We got a couple of updates from camp. I'm not gonna try to act like I got all the news and I'm keeping up with everything, and I'm gonna have everything laid out for you in this live. I'm trying to keep up the best I can, but I'm a busy person, man. Busy person. Um, so shout out. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this, man. Real quick, I got to pull something up on my phone. Um, how y'all doing tonight, man? How y'all doing? Real quick, man. Real quick. Having a boomer moment, man. It's all good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share a screen on some things, man. I want to talk about a couple of things. Um, the first one, man, is there's this article that came out, man, and I want to talk about it, right? So this Raiders QB competition pendulum swings back the other way at latest practice. The Las Vegas Raiders had their ninth practice of training camp on Monday, and this is yesterday's stuff, right? This article came out last night, and it was also the latest chapter in the quarterback competition between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. With this unpadded practice in the books, the Raiders are a handful of days away from their first preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings on Saturday, August 10th in Minneapolis. Looking forward to that. Monday's practice was the opposite of Saturday's, as O'Connell was the better signal caller while Minshew didn't turn in his best performance. According to Vic Tafer of The Athletic, Minshew was erratic and failed to build off his fantastic scrimmage over the weekend. Though the veteran impressed with his mobility and scored a touchdown on a QB sneak, he failed to sustain drives and operate a competent offense. See, according to Tashawn Reed of The Athletic, O'Connell got more run with the first team and was the better player. Minshew was the better quarterback during the Raiders scrimmage Saturday, but he had an erratic practice Monday. O'Connell, on the other hand, performed better and took more snaps with the starters. At this point, it's still difficult to project how the competition will play out. The 25-year-old surged late in the workout and made a couple of nice throws to Christian Wilkerson and Trey Tucker, per Vincent Brosignor of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. In Monday's unpadded practice, both quarterbacks struggled with accuracy in the 11-on-11 situations. O'Connell surged late in the workout, connecting with Christian Wilkerson and Trey Tucker on two 20-yard gains, but his final pass of the session fell incomplete in the red zone, denying the Raiders potential points. Minshew, who worked mostly with and against second-teamers Monday, never found a consistent rhythm. He closed the practice with two straight scramble runs and a quarterback sneak that was ruled a touchdown. The plays he made with his legs and the element he holds the edge over the less mobile O'Connell were notable. But the Raiders would rather have seen him making plays with his arm. O'Connell's lone touchdown of practice went to undrafted free agent receiver Ramel Keaton with the second team. While he was the more efficient quarterback to start the week, it doesn't appear it was by a lot. Now, this whole thing with the quarterback stuff, man, it's going back and forth and back and forth. Shout out Deb. Glad you made it. Glad you're in the building. This whole thing is going back and forth. And to be honest with you guys, man, I don't think that we're going to get any kind of signs of what's going to happen with this quarterback competition until we get into the preseason. And real quick, I want to make a shout out to Dixon Flannels, right? Dixon Flannels, right now, I'm sporting the Allegiant Dixon flannel, right? And I'm not sponsored by Dixon or nothing like that. I just want to give a shout out to them, man, because I have two flannels that are related to the nation. One was the Nation collab, and this one's the Allegiant collab, right? And it even says "Just Win" on the buttons. Shout out to Dixon Flannels, right? But with this whole quarterback thing coming up on the preseason, is when we're actually going to get to see them take some snaps against another team. Now, it sounds like from a lot of the pressers and things, Antonio Pierce was talking about it, and it just sounds like there's a lot of excuses of they're going up against a really solid defense, right? It's like, well, we want to see them perform even if they're going against a solid defense. But we're in this spot, like 48 Dixons. There we go. There we go. You need to cop those, man. I'm pretty sure there's still some on the website. Go check it out. They like to make me broke, man. They always hit me with stuff that I can't resist. The thing that's going on with the quarterbacks, though, is that it's like everybody just seems to be really up in the air about like, we don't really know. And Aiden looks good this day. Gardner Minshew looks good that day. And then there's the debate of is this a lot of smoke? Are they blowing smoke right now? That way we're in a position where, teams like the Chargers that we're playing early on in the season don't have an opportunity to just plan for one quarterback. And, we're going to have a game time decision where all of a sudden they're having to plan for two quarterbacks and they're not really, really prepared. I don't think that we're going to go through all that just for that slight edge, right? What I really feel is going on right now is that, there's a consistency in what we're getting in these reports is that neither quarterback is really showing out, right? And it's not like, oh my God, both these quarterbacks are playing so well, we can't make a decision. We don't know who's out in front. We don't know who's taking the lead. Like, that's not what we're getting. What we're getting right now is, well, they showed a little bit of promise and it looked a little bit good, but they threw picks. And today I think there was like 5 picks, man. Let me pull this up, man. I saved this thing that I saw earlier. And by the way, shout out to Jack Jones, man. Jack Jones making NFL history, man. He's one of only 5 players ever in NFL history in their first 22 games to return 3 interceptions for a touchdown. Shout out to Jack Jones. He's winning that cornerback 1, man. We've been worried about cornerback 1. We already have him. But right now we're talking about quarterbacks, right? So here's a little bit of a kind of play-by-play thing that I saw that was from today. And what we had today was Minshew to Abdullah in flat for 5 to 7 yards. Minshew dropped snap fumble. Madison short gain. Minshew to Bowers over the middle for 15-plus yards. AOC deep pass to Myers for 30-plus yards. Kuntz likely sack held up to avoid a hit. Abdullah short catch. AOC sideline pass to Myers for 5 to 7. AOC interception to Murray over the middle intended for Bowers. And what I did see on that was that it was high. The pass was high. And we keep seeing this with Aiden O'Connell all through last season where he's throwing the ball too high. Something about his release, he needs to learn how to bring the ball down just a little bit, just to where our receivers can reach it, right? Then we got Zamir rush for 15-plus yards. Bowers rush blown up in the backfield. Minshew to Myers over the middle for 10. Minshew to Trey Tucker, screen for short gain. Jack Jones, interception on Minshew on overthrow over the middle. Minshew, short gain to Wilkerson. Malcolm Kuntz, sack on Minshew. Crosby right behind as well. Epps, pass breakup on Minshew, throw to Bryant over the middle. As the team period came to an end, Trayvon Merrick secured another interception for the defense, coming up to jump a route in the middle of the field. O'Connell overthrows Bowers across the middle, Murray with the interception. And from my understanding is that there was 5 total picks today. Yes, both of them scared with them interceptions. And like, you know, last year I remember just thinking like, yeah, our defense is balling out. They're getting all these interceptions, and there's this whole talk about like Derek Carr never got intercepted during training camp, and you know, the speculation was the defense is stepping up, right? And yes, the defense is stepping up, but what turned out was Jimmy G was not shit for a quarterback. That's just what it is, right? He was unable to perform to the level that many of us hoped that he would. Now, I knew he wasn't the answer, but I hoped that he was at least going to be a serviceable quarterback for the meantime. Um, and I really think that that's part of what's going on right now is that we're getting subpar quarterback play, but also we're getting elite defensive play. These Our secondary is looking elite right now, right? Our pass rush, our defensive line is looking elite right now. And so, yeah, the offense is struggling. We don't have Jackson Powers Johnson out there. We don't have Colton Miller out there. We had Andres Pete at left tackle. We had, actually DJ Glaze is taking some of the starting reps away. Um, you know, on the right tackle spot over Thayer Mumford. So we're seeing a whole lot of, the offense is just kind of in shambles, right? And not, I don't know if shambles is the word, but even Antonio Pierce said that offense has to step it up, right? And that, you know, um, one of the things that I saw on this last presser with Antonio Pierce was he was talking about the whole Minshew Aiden O'Connell thing, and he said Gardner Minshew is looking really good and he's making these plays, but he's having interceptions, right? And he's having these turnovers, and that's a big one, right? And you could just hear it in his voice. You could see it on his face where he's like, "That just ain't it." And then he's saying Aiden O'Connell was being really accurate, um, but it just, how did he word it, man? I'm trying to think of exactly how he worded it. Basically, he's just not seeing it, right? He's just not seeing what he needs. Now, my speculation is that Antonio Pierce is leaning towards Aiden O'Connell, and that's his guy. That's who he wants to start. But I have a feeling that Luke Getzey and Tom Telesco are not sold on Aiden O'Connell, and I have a feeling that there's going to be a toss up, right? Because between these three guys, and I'm sure that Marvin Lewis and there's going to be some other people that have a say, but I really think it's going to be between Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco, and Luke Getzey, Freddie Chavez, 505 Duke City, dude. I'm in Espanola, bro. 505. What's up, man? What's up? Nuevo Mexico, brother. That's sick, bro. I'm glad you found me, man. Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. Um, and like I've said before, guys, I kind of fell out of the algorithm a little bit, man. I'm starting to, step up my game a little bit with some shorts, and trying to get back in the algorithm. I took the month of June off, and July I wasn't very consistent. We're getting into the preseason. We're gonna do some watch parties. We're gonna have more stuff going on. So I'm going to work on being more consistent with the TACO-BOUT Raiders Tuesday and the TGI Raiders Friday live. And I'm going to really work on being consistent with at least those two spots. I do plan on doing some watch parties during the preseason, and we're going to see if we keep that going throughout the regular season. But like right now, I don't think that they even know what they're going to do with this quarterback thing. And one of the reasons why Antonio Pierce said that they didn't do the the damn, I can't think of the word right now. The practices with other teams, right, in the preseason during training camp is because he's like, we already have a solid defense, and I feel like we already have a good enough defense that we know what they're going up against, right? But I really feel like we're not being able to see an accurate picture of how these quarterbacks are really performing, right? Because our defense is stacked, and that's the excuse that they keep making. So, preseason week 1, when we go up against the Vikings, we're going to really get to see what these quarterbacks are looking like against other teams. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it's just that our defense is shutting them down. It's like, it kind of reminds me of like when I was a little kid, man. I used to play basketball against my cousin, and my cousin was a couple years older than me. He was bigger than me, faster than me. I mean, this dude played varsity basketball. He ended up going to play college ball, and he had an opportunity to actually go pro. He ended up with a bad ankle injury and became a doctor, right? But this dude, he used to toss me around, man. It was like I couldn't hardly score on him. It was rough. Like anybody that watched me playing against him was like, man, this kid cannot play, right? But then when I got into games where I was playing kids my own age, I was stomping on these kids, right? Because I was so used to playing somebody that was so dominant against me, um, that when I got to, uh, play with people that were my age, all of a sudden I was the one that was dominant against them. And so I'm really hoping that what we see with our quarterbacks is that, and our offense as a whole, is that we're going to get out there with these other teams that have less dominant defense, and they're going to really be able to like show out that iron sharpens iron, and because they've been playing against a really stacked defense, they're going to perform better. Now, I don't really know if that's going to be the case right now. And I'm a little bit worried about it, and I've been seeing a lot of speculation out there of like, well, maybe Gardner Minshew's going to pull Rich Gannon, right? And he's gonna come out, and later in his career, he's gonna really have like MVP type seasons and things like that. And so, I wanted to pull up a couple things, man, because I don't really see it, right? And I pulled up stats, right, on Rich Gannon, and what we're looking at for career stats. First couple of seasons in Minnesota, he didn't really play, right? And so when he really first got out there, we had 2,200 passing yards in 14 games, 16 touchdowns, and 16 picks, right? And this is early on in his career, right? And so that's, we're not really, I don't know, we're not really comparing that early career as much. Let me see. Maybe if I share my, you know, so we look at Garner Minshew, right? Garner Minshew actually early on in career had better play, right? 14 games, 3,200 passing yards. So that's over 1,000 passing yards more, 21 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Now, that's pretty good, right? That's way better than what Rich Gannon had in his first real season playing, right? Actually getting play time. And then, if we look at Aiden O'Connell, what Aiden O'Connell had rookie year, he only had 11 games, right? And in Aiden O'Connell's 11 games, he had 2,200 passing yards, like Rich Gannon, except 3 less games, 12 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Now, to be on pace to just match what Gardner Minshew had in his rookie year, in 3 more games, he would have had to have averaged like 333 passing yards per game and 3 touchdowns. And I don't think that if Aiden O'Connell played 3 more games that he was going to match that, right? I don't think that that's what it was going to look like. So if we go back and we look at Rich Gannon, right? And if we look at Rich Gannon's better seasons, see, the seasons I want to look at is right before he hit MVP status, right? Because MVP year over here in 2002, 4,600 passing yards, 26 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Now, he was getting pretty consistent when he got to Oakland, 24 to 28 passing touchdowns. Picks were right between 10 and 14, 9 and 14. And the passing yards were 3,400 to 4,600, right? So that's what it looked like for a couple of seasons. Now, if we go over here to Garner Minshew, I got to figure out how to do this share screen better, man. I'm not that great at it, but it's all right. I'm doing what I can. Whatever. So if you look at Garner Minshew, he hasn't had a lot of seasons where he's gotten full play, because that his rookie year, he had 14 games played. He had that 3,200 with 21, right? And then in 2020, he only played 9 games, got 2,200 passing yards, 16 touchdowns. And then with Philly, he didn't get much play. And then with the Colts, He played 17 games, got 3,300 yards passing with 15 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. So really, those numbers don't look very good to me, right? Now, it took Rich Gannon several years in the NFL to start actually having good seasons. 7, 8, 9. It was really like 11 or 12 years before Rich Gannon actually took off, right? And actually started to perform at that level. Now, for me, I don't want to wait that long, right? Because Gardner Minshew, you know, he's going into year number 6, right? So, what, we got to wait another 6 years for Gardner Minshew to take off, and that's not a good comparison, right? But really, I don't know that Gardner Minshew is going to be that guy if he's ever going to be that guy. I think that if he was going to step into that position and really be that guy, it would be showing right now in training camp, right? I think that we'd be able to see, like, look, Garner Minshew is just balling out in training camp. He's, making Aiden O'Connell look bad, and it's very, very clear who our starter is now. And at the end of the preseason, we might have a little bit of that going on. Sucks that they don't even know who to choose, rated them. Neither are great. It should be two great QBs to see who's best. But this feels like it's more who isn't the worst. Raider Devin, that's exactly how I feel about this right now, right? And that's not how I felt a couple of weeks ago. I was feeling pretty confident that we had two quarterbacks that were pretty good. Definitely not top 10 guys. I was hoping top 20 guys. But right now, it's like, I think we're having a fight to see if either one of them is a top 32 quarterback in the league. Now, I could be just jumping ahead of myself, right? I'm feeling pretty negative about this situation right now. But, I mean, I'm really upset that we are not seeing more. And there was this thing that I saw earlier where, like, Aiden O'Connell was talking about, like, because he was asked a question in the presser about, the competition between him and Gardner Minshew and how he feels about that. And it's like not even like really wanting to see the other person do bad, which is good, right? We don't want unsportsmanlike stuff. But also, he's just like, yeah, when you see him make a play, against the defense on a coverage we've been trying to beat, and you're just like, yeah, you get happy about that. But it's like, we don't really need Aiden O'Connell to be like, good job, Gardner Minshew, good job. It's like I really want to see him step it up and be like, this is my position and I'm going to claim it. I'm going to prove that this is my job, and that's not the route that he's taking, which that's not really who Gardner Minshew is as a person either. But I feel like there's a better possibility that Gardner Minshew can step up in that kind of way than Aiden O'Connell right now, man, just because of how their personality is, right? What's up, AD and AZ, man? What's going on? What's going on? Thank God we will have a top 5 defense this year if both of our QBs struggle. And that's exactly it, right? Gardner Minshew, hold on real quick. So what Gardner Minshew said in the presser was basically like, yeah, well, our defense is going to be showing out. Our defense is going to win us games, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's not what I want to hear right now, right? What I want to hear from Gardner Minshew is like that the offense is stepping it up, right? I want to hear from AP like, hey, our offense is looking really good right now. We are impressed, Now, I don't expect our offense to be in a position where they're making our defense look bad, right? But they need to be giving pretty good comp to that defense, because mostly what we're hearing is there's a lot of sacks, there's a lot of picks, and these quarterbacks are just not doing it. And I find it really like strange, right? Because with the weapons that we have on this offense, how are they performing so poorly? Now, I know our offensive line is depleted right now, right? We don't have Colton Miller at training camp. We don't have Jackson Powers Johnson, right? And I keep hearing these rumors that, oh, Jackson Powers Johnson is close to returning and all these things. But like right now, I'm pretty worried, right? That if Jackson Powers Johnson doesn't get into training camp and get some really good reps throughout this preseason, I don't think that he's going to be up to speed enough to be our starting left guard. Now, it could be that he showed out so good in OTAs that they're like, we're gonna sit him through training camp and bust him out in the preseason. I doubt that. I seriously doubt that, because why would you not want your second round rookie to be getting those reps? I think he needs to get those reps. I'm staying optimistic. I do not want to talk too much shit. I'm waiting for the season to start, and then I will start talking shit. Yeah, and right now I'm feeling pretty pessimistic, man. I really am, and that's weird because I don't usually go there. I don't go there in my life. I don't go there with the Raiders. I'm very, I see the good in things, right? Even when it doesn't show very well. I mean, what I do for a living is I work with people who are incarcerated, and I work with them on recidivism, right, and how to reenter society, and sustainability, and have a successful life, right? And I got to be able to see optimistically, because if I don't, I could be like, oh, they're all going to just go do the same thing again. And why bother? Why put in the effort? And that's not how I live my life, man. I show up, I'll put in as much effort as the people I'm working with, right? And like, what I'm seeing out of the Raiders right now is that our offense is not putting in the same effort as the defense. And that's not good, right? We need this offense to step it up. Colton is going to be back before him now, I guess. See, this is just getting crazy, man. Like, I don't know what's wrong with Jackson Powers Johnson. Honestly, I'm pretty worried about it because I'm really excited about that pick, right? I'm so happy that we have Jackson Powers Johnson. He wants to be a Raider. He's such a good lineman. I really want to see him be in center instead of left guard. But like, since he's out with an injury right now, like, it scares me, right? And I think it's appropriate, right? Sit him since now, let him heal, make sure that we're not gonna exacerbate this injury and make it worse. But it's really a little scary that that's where he's starting off with his first training camp. He's missing the whole thing, you know. Um, and concussions is his issue, right? And they didn't say anything about a concussion. They were talking about a shoulder injury, right? And I'm hoping that they're not trying to cover up some concussion issue. Yeah. So hopefully he's not going through that. Now, I also want to bring up yesterday, Las Vegas Raiders released the unofficial depth chart. Now, it's interesting to me because the way that the depth chart is laid out is in 12 personnel, right? I don't know if that's some kind of flex or what the whole meaning behind that, but I mean, props to them. So right now, what we're looking at is for wide receiver on this side, right? We got Devontae Adams, Christian Wilkinson, Keelan Doss, Jeff Foreman, which Jeff Foreman went down with an injury. He was carted off the field today. Never want to see that. I hope he's okay, man. I really hope he's okay. I haven't seen any updates on his injury. Tariq McAllister, I heard Ramel Keaton is really showing out and looking really promising. Same with Jalen Guyton. I keep hearing that he's having a lot of good reps during training camp, but they are listed as other right now, right? Over here on left tackle, we got Colton Miller. They have Cody Whitehair. Cody Whitehair as first, right? Jackson Powers Johnson as second. And I don't know if it's that the injury is projecting him to not be a starter. Um, so that worries me, right? That because at first they were saying Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be our first team left guard. Then we got Andre James, Dylan Parham, Thayer Mumford. Now, there's a lot of rumors that DJ Glaze is coming for that job, right? And that he's taking a lot of first team reps, that he looked really good against Max Crosby. DJ Glaze, when the draft came through, I think everybody was shocked when we chose a tight end at number 13, right? But then after looking him up and figuring out who he was, it's like, oh, dang, like, okay, I could see that. And then we got Jackson Powers Johnson in the second round, and he was projected to go in the first round. And I'm hearing that maybe he fell to the second round because of injury concerns. I'm not really sure how true that is, but that's what I'm hearing. But it was like, dang, we got JPJ, let's go. And then pick number 3, DJ Glaze. And we're like, who? Right? And I'm like Google searching. I'm like, who? Who? Did not know, right? But reports are saying that he is performing very, very well right now. So then, tight end, we got Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, and then we got Harrison Bryant and Zach Gentry. Now, I have a feeling that we might end up with all 4 of these tight ends sticking on this roster. When I talked about 52-man roster projections, I said that more than likely we're only going to keep those 3 tight ends, but I think Zach Gentry has a good shot of making this roster, especially running 12 personnel. I think that we're going to need him. I do. Then we got Jacoby Myers over here, who's performing very well. Trey Tucker, and there was some talk about him having a lot of drop issues in training camp, and Sanji T came out and said that he thinks that that's being overblown. That the reports that he's getting is that some of the drops that he's having were balls that were thrown too high and things like that. I know that he had a couple of drop issues during the season last year. A couple of balls that were kind of bouncing around as he ran out of bounds. And we don't want to see that to continue because Trey Tucker is our speedster. Um, so I really hope that he tightens that up and doesn't have issues with that moving forward. We're getting really good reports about DJ Turner. DJ Turner is has been showing out in special teams, but what they're saying is that he's really showing up in the wide receiver game at a good level right now. I like DJ Turner. He's 5'9". I just found out that he ran a 4.5 40, which was surprising to me because I actually thought he was a speedster when we picked him up, but I guess he's not. 4.5 is not that great. It's not horrible, but you know, he's really showing out in special teams more than anything. And I do think that he's going to get some reps in the wide receiving game. Now, this is interesting how they listed the quarterbacks. Because right now we got the quarterbacks both listed as first. Then nobody in second. And then we got Anthony Brown in third, Carter Bradley other. Now, I thought Carter Bradley was going to be the guy that was going to step up and get QB3, but it's looking like Anthony Brown has pretty much solidified that spot from the things that I've been reading, the things I've been seeing. But Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew is still this huge toss-up, and they even put that on their unofficial depth chart. And then over here for running back, we got Zamir White, first team, Alexander Madison, second team, Amir Abdullah, and Brenton Brown, third team. Now, what's weird to me is Dylan Lowby showing up over here in other, right? Because they have been saying so many good things about him all through training camp. Antonio Pierce is talking good about him. Other players are talking good. Reporters everybody is talking good about Dylan Lowby, right? And what we saw with him playing in New Hampshire at the small school is actually translating to the NFL speed, and that he's doing an amazing job. So really what I see is that Dylan Lowby is going to definitely take over this spot, but he might even come for Alexander Madison, man. We're going to see that progress as the year goes on. I think that Zamir White, he's doing great in training camp, and I think he's got it locked at number 1. I think we're still going to see him play in the preseason, but I think that we're going to see a lot of Alexander Madison and Dylan Lowby, right? I'd love to see Sincere McCormick get some reps in preseason, but I don't know how that's going to go for him because we got a lot of depth in our running back room right now. So over here for defensive end, man, we got Max Crosby, first team, of course, and there's so many good reports about Max Crosby right now in training camp. They're basically saying that Max Crosby is winning training camp, right? He's killing it out there. And I love to see it. I think that he's not only feeling a lot better because he played the whole year last year injured, right? He had surgery on his thumb. He had surgery on his knee. he's healed really nicely from those, and he is. I think that he's going to be at his A game this year, man. I love to see it. Tyree Wilson is rolling in at second, man, and I'm feeling like Tyree Wilson. We're not hearing the kind of reports that we were hoping to hear during training camp. I mean, there's some good mentions here and there, but nothing that really is popping, right? And I know he's just going into year 2, and this is his first real off season, right? Last year he had that foot injury, he had a surgery, he didn't really have an off season. So seeing what this looks like, this is his first off season. I hope that he's going to get the proper reps that he needs to step up his game. And really, I think it's going to take him a few weeks into the season to really start getting up to speed, which sucks. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Um, and then we got John Jenkins. It has not been doing anything for training camp. I think it's because he's old, honestly. Um, Byron Young, we're getting some good reports on Byron Young, right? He even did a presser, and you can just kind of see it that like he's doing the same thing as Michael Mayer, where it's like first year wasn't just absolutely here, bought in, present, up to speed, and it's just really kind of like in the zone right now. And he's like talking like he's coming fighting for this position, right? And that he's really stepping it up from some of the reports. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of him this year because John Jenkins, he's good, but I don't think that John Jenkins has a lot of play left in him, man. He's already getting old for NFL year. He's almost my age, right? I'm 37, and there's no way I could be out there. There's no way. Now, Christian Wilkins, of course, first team. Hearing good things about Christian Wilkins in camp. And then Adam Butler, man. And Adam Butler had 6 sacks last year. And he wants to be in the conversation, right? And it's like in his presser, you could just hear it that he's like, you know what, like I've just been kind of here. But like after last year, it's like he's really realized that he wants to be in the conversation with Christian Wilkins and Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby, and he wants to be in that conversation with these guys. And I love that, right? Because you have that desire to be in that conversation, you're going to be in it, right? Max Crosby has shown that, right? That he has that desire, that he wants to be the best, right? And maybe he's not the absolute best. I think he is. Not everybody thinks he is. But because of having that mentality and that kind of drive, he's put himself in position to be where he is today, man. And that's beautiful for a 4th-round pick to be where he is today. Malcolm Kuntz. A lot of good reports about Malcolm Kuntz. I think that he's going to pick up where he left off last year. I mean, last year he had 8 sacks, and it was like in the last 8 games, right? He was just balling out. He's also on a contract year. So I think that he's really going to show out this year. Janarius Robinson, man, I haven't been hearing anything about him from camp, but I'm surprised that they didn't cut him when he got that DUI. With the whole Henry Ruggs thing and all that, I think that they should have cut him, honestly. Tells me it's a lack of buy-in. But we'll see how that goes moving forward. Divine Diablo, I've only seen a couple of reports on him. I haven't really heard anything bad, but nothing necessarily very good. Now, I am hearing good things about Luke Masterson, and it's sounding like he's really stepping up his game, and he's getting in a position to where, he's really solidifying himself on this roster. And it sounds like he's coming for Divine Diablo's job, right? So Divine Diablo really has to step it up this year, or else Luke Masterson's going to take it, right? And then Robert Spillane, Spill is Spill, man. The dude's a beast. He really showed us last year what he can do and that he wants to be here. And then Tommy Eichenberg, poor guy in his presser, man. You could just tell he was so nervous and didn't know how to answer questions. But we're getting good reports on him. I don't think that he's gonna be taking anybody's job this year, but I think that he's really gonna get some. He's gonna get some reps, and I think that in the years to come, that's gonna be one of those picks that we're really happy that we got. And Amari Burney's right after him. So then we got in the nickel, we got Nate Hobbs and MJ Devonshire. Now Nate Hobbs is Nate Hobbs, right? He's doing great. He's a beast. So glad we have him on the roster. But MJ Devonshire, right? He's rookie. He's really actually getting a lot of good reports. He's getting some picks in training camp. Um, he's going to be another one of those guys that I think is going to be a Raider for years to come, and that we're going to be really happy that we got that pickup. Now, Jacorian Bennett. Jacorian Bennett, it, I he's coming with a lot of confidence this year. I heard that he's still getting a lot of penalties in training camp, and I really hope that they can clean that up before the season starts. But it really looks like he's solidifying himself as that cornerback too. Now, Jacorian Bennett, he's fast, he's talented, um, and I think he's got the heart, right? He's got the heart for this. If he can just clean up his penalties a little bit, I think that he's going to be a great corner too. DCAM, DCAM Richardson is getting a lot of good mentions in camp. This dude he's long, lengthy, he's fast. Hearing just good things about him, man. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing how much snaps he gets. We got a couple rookies on here that I'm just really happy about, right? Because what happened was Tom Telesco came in, and there's this whole thing about that Tom Telesco kills it in the first couple rounds, and then the later rounds is just like, what was that? And that's not how I feel that this draft went. Now, I could be wrong, and a lot of people could be wrong, and these players might not amount to be anything. But what it really seems like is that he hit on this draft all the way down, all the way down. Even some of our UDFAs are just really getting good mentions and seem like really good players, right? Like Jaquan Shepard, right? I mean, we got a couple of dogs in UDFA room, but Jack Jones, he's getting picks, he's getting pass breakups, he's just killing it. He's killing it right now. Jack Jones is our cornerback one, and I think that answers the whole thing of how come we didn't go get a Stephon Gilmore? How come we didn't go, pick up anybody else in free agency? And I think it's because they know Jack Jones is cornerback one, and that they really want to get Jacorian Bennett out there for those reps for cornerback two, because while he's still getting those penalties, he's still playing at a high clip. Now, Trayvon Merrick, he's been getting a lot of picks in training camp, right? And I love to hear it. I hope it's not just simply because of quarterback error. It sounds like some of them are. It sounds like some of them are just he's making good reads. And Marcus Epps has a couple of mentions here and there, but right now Marcus Epps, he's in a contract year. He's got to step it up, because if he does not solidify his position, we got Isaiah Paul Mao, we got Chris Smith, we got Trey Taylor, we got several guys that want his job. Um, and then we don't got to talk about our kickers and punters and stuff, because we already know what we have. So that's the unofficial depth chart, man. I'm really liking what we're seeing. Um, I've been away from the chat for a minute, so we actually had a couple people jump in, man. Raider Ryan, salute. Glad you made it, man. Freddie, man, can't wait till week 1. I'm so excited. I'm excited for preseason, right? This Saturday, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because that's what I'm on, Mountain Standard Time. We are going to be playing the Vikings. I will be doing a watch party at that time. If you guys want to come jump on with me, I know for me, man, I love. I'll have an earbud in, and I'll be listening to one of the watch parties that's going on YouTube, and I'll be watching the game, and then I'll be texting some of my homies on the side, like, "Oh, damn, did you see that?" So yeah, come jump in, man. For me, I usually jump around on watch parties, man. I'll jump on with the Raiders report, and then I'll be over there with Graphic Raider. I'll kind of jump around a little bit. Raider D is going to be doing some, man. And just jump around and see what's up with everybody, man. That way you get in with the nation, man. And hit up the chat. I love this. I love this, and I'm not over here just trying to be like, oh no, you got to be over here, right? Because it's really just about being with the nation on game day, man. And I'm so excited for it. Chris, salute, man, salute. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really had for today, man. I'm so excited for the season, man. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get on the TGI Raiders Friday live. That is my plan at this moment. But I'm definitely gonna be doing the watch party on Saturday with the Vikings. I'm hoping to do both. We'll see how things kind of shake out with that. Definitely love you, family. I'm gonna go spend some time with my family. Salute Nation. See you on the next one.